Hey everyone, got a short little video here to show you how to make this name tag. Let you have a little experience using Inventor and kind of a little example of what it's like to interact with the software, and hopefully when we're all said and done, a 3D printed name tag that you can walk away with that you made yourself. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is launch the Autodesk Inventor app right there. It's the gold capital I. Once you double click on that, it's going to start up and your screen is going to look more like this here. If it's the very first time you're using it, you'll see a start working or start learning set of buttons. Go ahead and just click start working. And your area down here will be completely blank, and we will just go ahead and click on the part icon there to get started and start a brand new part file. Once that part file is started, we're going to go up and click on Start 2D Sketch. And I like to use these work plane, the XY plane, to start my sketches on. Now we can draw right away the grid if I want to move that at all. I hold the roller button. That allows me to drag my objects or my workspace around. So maybe I move it a little bit just so you guys can make sure you're seeing the lines I'm drawing. And I let go of that roller button to release it. I'm going to go up to the rectangle tool, click the drop arrow, scroll down to a slot tool, center, center. The first click is one side of the center point. The next click is the other end center point. And then my third click, these are all left clicks, sorry, by the way. So it was left click to start, left click for my second, and the third left click is just to rough in the size or the shape of this object. When I'm done with the tool, I click the escape on the keyboard, and now I'm ready to put some dimensions on this. So up here in the top middle of our ribbon, that's this area of the screen, where all the tools are, the ribbon, there's a dimension tool, or D on the keyboard as it shows in that little window. If you read that pop-up, it says general dimension, and the parentheses is a D. That's the keyboard shortcut. And the first thing I want to do is how tall is this name tag? So I'm going to click the top line, left click the bottom, and then left click again to place, and 1 inch tall. So just 1 on the number keys and enter. And you might see it completely disappear from the screen. It just depends how zoomed in you were. So if it goes away, just zoom in or out and try to find it. Next thing we're going to do is dimension the length of this. And we could kind of go from arc to arc, but a really easy way is from center point to center point, or essentially just click this dimension tool's active. One click on the line about here will let you reference that whole segment and place it up above. And we're going to make that 3, enter. And if we want, we can left click on this down here and place. It says it's just giving me a warning box. It basically says this is already being controlled, because if the part is 3 inches long and it's 1 inch tall, that means this has to be a 1/2 inch radius. So I accept it just so I can see it and know in my own head that that's doing what I think it should be. Next thing we're going to do is draw a little circle. So we go up top to our tools, find the circle tool. Zoom in here a little bit, and we're going to go a little bit off the center point, not right on, a little bit left. And if you see, I can kind of track. I reference that point, and I can track to the left. Left click to start a circle, left click to set size, at least just roughed in size. Escape to cancel a tool, so I'll hit the escape tool, or sorry, escape key, and the cursor kind of changed back to normal. Dimension tool. Right there, left click. 1 click on the circle, references, and then 1 left click places that dimension. We're going to make that 0.2. And the dimension tool is still active, so now I'm going to go from center point to center point. Click up above, and we're going to make that 0.25. And push that hole out towards the edge. And just to make sure that we're still in line with the center of this object, or center line, we're going to use a constraint. This is kind of just a geometric reference, and we're going to pick horizontal and just click on the line here. Sorry. So go with this end point and then the center point. There we go. The line itself was already horizontal, so that's why it gave me a warning. So I just click on the center point and center point, and if you're off at all, you would kind of see the circle probably move up or down just a little bit to kind of snap into position to be perfectly horizontal. When I'm done with that, I escape. And the basic shape of our name tag now is set. We have overall height, we have overall length, plus radiuses, and a hole here for a keychain to maybe slip through. So I click Finish Sketch. Kind of zoom in or out, and then I can drag by holding the roller button. When you roll it is zooming in and out. When you hold the roller button, that drags your part around. We're going to go to the Extrude tool. I'm going to click on the inside of this shape here. And it's a little bit thick. Look at point 1. I think that's what we went with. Actually, let's go with 0.0625. Okay, 0.0625, 1/16 of an inch. And we'll make this name tag, just the back part of it. 0.0625, and it doesn't really matter if the arrow is pointing out to our left or back and to the right. At this moment, it doesn't matter. Default is like what mine will be showing. Click OK, and there is kind of the back of our name tag. So now I want to add letters to this surface. So if I want to work on this surface, I left click on it. You get a bunch of shortcuts, and the last shortcut is a create sketch. So I'm going to click on that one more time. And then you can see it's referencing the yellow lines, just kind of referencing our edges, or important geometric constraints, I guess. In this case, it's pretty simple. We're just going to grab the text tool up top. I'm just going to left click once on top of the back there. And I'll type my name. I'll put caps on. Janota. And once I have that, I'm going to highlight it all by left click and holding. And I know for me, a good starting spot is about a 1/2 inch font, so 0.5. And I'm going to switch to Arial Black. Hit A on the keyboard to shortcut to the A's. And I just scroll down through now until I find Arial Black. There you go. Now, all of us have very different length names. So you're either going to have to play, I would stick to an Arial font. Not all fonts can be extruded. Only some of them can. So either Arial Black, Arial Narrow, Arial Rounded. I think all the Arials work. And if it doesn't, we just come back in here and try a different font and try to extrude again. But you may also have to play with the height. Because a 1/2 inch size font, you'll see here if I click OK and escape, because I'm done with the text tool. Now I can left click hold and I can drag this around visually just to eyeball it and see what looks centered. I'm kind of just looking at the gap on the bottom, gap on the top. It could go up just a little bit, I think. And then also it can go a little bit close to the hole on the left, so I'm going to go a little bit to the right. There we go. Now that's looking pretty good. Now you may need, like I said, pick a different font, change your font to a different height, whatever it takes to make it fit on this 1 inch by 4 inch total nameplate. But once I have my font where I like it, I click Finish Sketch. I go to Extrude, and I should be able to just click right on the font, and it will extrude itself right there. Now, my eyes are kind of playing tricks on me, so I'm going to F4 to rotate this a little bit. Okay, there we go. Sure enough, yep, it just kind of shows in this manner that this is the back part, and now I can see green for adding material out and away from the back. For some reason right here, it just wasn't looking quite right. And sometimes that happens with our eyes. We'll see it one direction and then it seems to go back the other. But if everything's looking okay, we can hit OK. If you want positive font, if you want a negative font, which we could try, we could go back in by double clicking this extrusion, the second step of this part, double click it. That kind of puts us back in edit mode, and we could click on cut. Again, let me just make sure we're going the right direction. See, it's cutting, it's still the arrow is pointing out. So I'm going to tell it to go back the other direction and cut, and hit OK. And we could try this, but we are going to have some issues with the A's and the O's unless you put a little stem in there to connect them. So in hindsight, the easier thing to do would probably just say leave it as a solid material at this point. And we have this all done. We can go ahead and save it, whether just to your group drive or H drive, just depending on where we're at in the class and what we have set up at this point. But there's how to make our first little part. I'll do a separate video on how to get things ready for 3D printers. Thank you.